Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Graduation, written by Maya Angelou. Now, before I go into the summary and analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, Graduation is an excerpt taken from I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is a black woman who lived during the early 20th century. She died in 2014. And Graduation basically kind of gives us an account of when she was graduating high school and what happened when she was graduating high school that kind of affected her. Now, in early 20th century America, a lot, black people did not have a fantastic life in America. There was a lot of racism. There was a lot of things that black Americans had to go through, and a lot of difficulties that black Americans, African Americans had to face. Now, in Graduation, we get an account of what happened to Maya Angelou as she was graduating high school. You know, she was this individual that had a lot of dreams for herself. She wanted to be something. She's this young black woman. She has really good grades. She's an A student. She's like one step away from being the valedictorian when she's graduating, and she's just ready to have a great future. And since we're in 2020, we know that she ends up becoming a novelist. She writes a lot of poetry. She is well known in the black community and just in America at large because she just became a great author. But during this excerpt in the story of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings and in the story of Graduation, it did not seem that she was going to become who she became, because the opportunities that a lot of black Americans have in the 21st century just didn't exist in the early 20th century. And so in Graduation, what we see is that at first she's very happy. She's about to graduate. She's ecstatic about graduating, and she's dreaming about becoming something, about making money, doing something that she loves, having a career, and making her parents proud. But when she gets all the preparations done, gets dressed up, her hair is done, she has the nice clothes, her parents are happy, her family's happy, everybody's rejoicing, everybody's excited. And Graduation day comes, she goes to graduation. Even though things are not perfect, she's happy because she's dreaming about upward mobility. She's dreaming about becoming something. And while she's sitting at graduation, um, officials come from her county to her graduation, and they get to speak at her graduation. And in the speech that this official gives, this district official gives in her graduation, the speech basically tells her, and pretty much everybody in this graduation, all the black people in this graduation, that there's not really much out there for black people in the early 20th century. You can't really become a lawyer or a doctor. You're really not going to make it far. The most that you could get as a black person in the 20th century is probably you're going to be a maid or some type of manual labor person. And that was the future most black people, most African Americans had. That was the opportunity. That's the only thing you could probably do, because how are you going to become a doctor? It would be extremely difficult. And even if you could somehow find a way to pay for school, a lot of the top schools and probably most schools in the early 20th century wouldn't accept black people into their institutions. And what hospitals would hire black people unless you had an entirely black hospital? Um, you weren't going to become a doctor. There were not that many opportunities. So as Maya Angelou sitting there at graduation, as she's at first she's happy about graduating. At first she's ecstatic, but after this official comes, this district official comes and speaks to them. And what's kind of interesting is throughout his speech he kind of praises the white school, right? He's at a black school, he's at a black graduation, but he's kind of treating the black people there as, yeah, you guys graduated, but You guys are going to be the workers of society. You're not going to be the movers and shakers of society. So this really discourages Maya Angelou in graduation. She's sitting there really dressed up in her cap and gown, and her world had it was smashed in front of her face, because she had aspirations, she had dreams that she wanted to achieve. But after this district official speaks, all of that kind of disappears and it kind of melts away, and her smile just fades away, and she kind of sees that everybody that's sitting next to her, all the graduating seniors in her high school class, there's not really that much of a future out there for them. But the thing that kind of makes graduation, the excerpt, the short, it's not really a short story, it's, the excerpt of graduation, a little bit more palatable, a little bit more agreeable, is that the valedictorian of her class kind of gets up, um, and kind of gives his valedictorian speech. And at the end, he sings this Negro anthem that Maya Angelou says, and the whole auditorium sings this Negro anthem, this poem, and the poem gives them hope. The poem gives them encouragement. The poem tells them that they will make it again and again. They will triumph again, and that's like the central message to what the valedictorian kind of gives in his speech. And the story kind of ends with this, I know that we are in a tough position. I know that there's not that much out there for Black people, in terms of opportunities, in terms of education. But I know that, but like, it's like we know that, or the poem kind of gives everybody, the parents, the students, the graduating seniors, that one day things will get better. One day, we will have opportunities to achieve upward mobility and to make our lives better. So, this excerpt ends there, and it ends on a good note. Now, the thing is, like, from the beginning of this excerpt, when you're reading the I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, you can see that the school that Maya Angelou attends is not the best school, and everything just seems like the society that she lived in the earliest 20th century, um, the society that she lived in, everything about it was just trying to keep Black people or African American people in their place. The school that she attended, there wasn't really like um, equipment, or um, usable equipment, or usable, like, the facilities were dull and gray, and they were just not standard. The education that they received was education, but it probably wasn't the top tier education at that time, or the state approved education at that time. And the other thing that was really significant is that the school was actually near farms and barns and livestock. So that kind of like puts things into perspective, kind of saying like, we're going to put the Black school, the African American school, next to the farm. And you kind of see like what that means. It kind of means like, we want to keep you guys as the workers, as the laborers. If they wanted equality in the early 20th century, if they wanted everyone, Black, white, all types of races, to have equal education and equal opportunities, why did you have to build or establish a Black school near the farmland? So we know from history, we know from Maya Angelou's life, and from the civil rights movement, and from all the types of movement that came out of the 20th century, that Black people did triumph again, and there what we've had victory, because civil rights. Now you do see Black people becoming doctors and lawyers, and making better lives for themselves. So there is still different types of racism, and racism is still exists in the world. It's something that I don't think that you can entirely get rid of, but it's something that always needs to be challenged, something that always needs to be talked about, and something that society just has to keep working on. It's strange. It's something that it doesn't make sense why people can't just live in peace. It's something that, skin color. It's just skin color. It's just pigmentation, but society can't get over it. It's something that separates and divides, and And instead of focusing on unity, instead of focusing on making the world a better place for everyone, um, color and skin color and just different races, it's just something that separates. And you know, if one day we face a different race, I don't know, if we challenge some sort of alien race, it would be very, very strange to see, they're unified and they're organized, and we're all just fighting each other, or trying to defeat each other when we are all human beings. We are all the same species. So, graduation by Maya Angelou gives hope, and it's hope that brings on fruit, good fruit. And what I mean by that is Maya Angelou becomes a novelist. She becomes a famous writer. She makes it out, and she made a living for herself. She became a very wealthy person through her work, through her writing. She's renowned in the Black community in America at large for her work, for her writings, and so the hope that she got from that graduation and the struggles that she went through in her life, uh, didn't hold her down. She found a way to make her life better, and she overcame racism. She overcame the things that were trying to drag her down. And even though racism is a a perpetual battle, um, there has been a lot of changes. Um, a lot of movement forward um, have been done, and that's very significant. So she didn't have, this was a woman who did not have a perfect family, did not live in a perfect society, didn't have a perfect life, but through the hope that she had, through the determination that she had to make her life better, um, she became better. So that's pretty much it. That is my summary and analysis of Graduation, the excerpt from I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.